Like I said, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Another update. Still working on this, but I'm giving y'all an update because look who joined us. The oldest one there said she can't sleep, so she's sitting back there behind my jacket, hanging out with Daddy. All right, so here we go. Got those lines run here. I was able to use the fittings on some of them, but some of the spots I wasn't able to. This little piece here, this hose is actually probably a little small for it, so eventually I'll need to replace these hoses. But here and here, I wasn't able to use the nice fittings. Like I said, I'll have to get, these hoses are not the proper size because I was having a real hard time getting it over this fitting, but that's all done. Now that's probably like takes the longest time is doing just working with that braided stainless steel and just clipping it a little bit at a time. So that's all of that. And next, you can see that all that line running. Next step is to go ahead and so I'm going to push this shroud as far forward as I can and set the lower radiator down into those. Got to be really careful with this and try not to mess it up, and then we'll hook the hoses, everything back up. So I'm going to do this try to do this very carefully, and hopefully this is just, seems like it's about the same size as the stock one. So we're going to try not to get hung up on anything. There we go. And then just make sure that it goes into that spot. It's getting a little hung up here. There we go. I'm just gonna have to maybe inch one side down a little bit, and then the other side down. There we go. And it's sitting right down in there. Now be careful with those battery terminals there not to make contact with them. Gonna have to move this out of the way again. There we go. All right, so I want it to sit right down into those little rubber pieces. And you've got a little bit of play on each side to kind of get it there. Like I said, be careful not to damage anything, those cores. And let's see if I can get this side to sit down in there. Might have to fight with this a little bit, but we'll get it in there eventually. Let's see. So we're not quite sitting down in there yet, but like I said, might have to fight with it. Might have to grease the bottom of this out, pull it back out, and grease it up to see if I can get it to. I may even have to bend those brackets out a little bit. Let me see what's happening here. One side seems like it's wanting to sit down, the other side is not. It may be because this, maybe just be a positioning thing. Seems like that's what it is. No, that's not in there right. I may have to bend those brackets out. That's what I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna come out real easy with it, because I don't want to damage any of that in rows. But it looks like, let me see. Let's see this here. Yeah, this one's, now, all right, so we're gonna have to pull these rubber out. What we're gonna have to do is, so you see here, hopefully you guys can see it. This bracket here, I'm gonna have to take it and bend it out, and then probably bend it back up some in order for that to get down in there. So that's what I'm running into now. So I guess this one's a little bit thicker than the old one. So I'm hoping that's not gonna run into an issue on the top, which I might go ahead and try to fit that real quick too, so y'all can see. things you might run into. See, it went this way here. It's facing this way. I believe it went like this. Yeah, so this one too, I'm gonna have to bend it out some, bend this bracket out some in order to get this to clamp down over the top of it. So a little bit of fit and finish, but no big deal. That's to be expected when you're doing these things. So now you know how I'm gonna cut out for a second and get everything bent out, and then we'll go from there. So just gotta bend those out some to get it seated, and then I'll bend the top one out, and I'm not really too worried about it going anywhere. I think it's gonna be fine once I get it all set down in there. All right, show y'all where we're at. So I bent these brackets out here. It took me a couple tries of taking it in and out. Just obviously take your time and be careful pulling this thing in and out. Like I said, you don't want to damage any of the rows. And that's a really good high pressure cap there. But I got them bent out, and I feel like it's still gonna be secure. I had to cheat it a little to the left because of where this lower hose is there. But I think once I get the top one on there, and I might just slightly tap on these a little bit from underneath to bring them in a little more. But I got it fit down in there. Just, like I said, be careful with it. Take your time, bend them out just a little bit at a time, kind of tweak them to get them where you want them. And then, like I said, might tap these back just a little bit to hold it in nice and secure. And I had to cheat it just a little left so that it would clear that lower radiator hose mount. So I'm hoping that's not going to get in the way when I try to put that hose on, but it seems like it potentially could. I don't know. I'll have to see when we get there. But it's in there. Man, that looks a lot better too. I like the way that looks. And really my thing is it going to perform the way I want it to perform is going to be the big thing. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is probably bend out, put that top bracket on. You can pull that back, slide it down in there, but I need to bend that top bracket out so it'll go over the top. And if it's good and secure, then we'll be fine. I'm going to pull the rubber out when you're bending it, but all I did was take a pair of grips here like this and just bent it out a little bit at a time. I'm going to probably use my vice grips over here and some He-Man muscle to see if I can get this to bend out some. And I'm just going to do it a little bit at a time, hopefully not breaking anything. I think we can get these threaded. That's not going to be too big of a deal to get these lined up. The other ones, however, we'll see. Gonna have to fight, aren't we? We're gonna get in a fight today. Okay, get you guys caught up. So I got these threaded in, no problem. I had to put a little pressure right down in here to kind of get everything to line up, and then was able to get these threaded some and then tighten it down. And you can see like that's pretty rock solid. Like I said, in the future I'll probably want to I'll fabricate maybe a bracket, but for now it's good, and that should be able to get me through getting it inspected to get it on the road. But that's solid. It's pretty solid in there. And the biggest thing too is to make sure that these don't come into contact with anything. So I'm gonna keep filming for a little bit, just work through it. Next thing I'm gonna do is get my shroud back on here and get everything lined up on this. So that'll just take some fitting. Gotta get this piece down. Hope you guys can see it. There we go. All right, and then just make sure my holes are lined up. And I'll come through and tighten all that down. And this piece is cracked. It needs to be replaced, but for now I'm not gonna worry about it. And I think I've got, yeah, plenty of clearance, so I'm not worried about that fan coming into contact with anything. You know, when I get down the road and have that happen. So, and then I can start reconnecting lines. Be careful, like I said, with these stainless lines, don't make sure they don't touch the battery. And I just ran this one around here, and this one just press fits on there like that. You don't need to set it under too high pressure. You don't need to clamp it down. But that's how I ran it before. It was like that. And it didn't come into contact with the hood or anything. The great thing about these old trucks is they got so much room. And I may want to reroute this eventually and run it up under there or up over the lines, but I really want to rerun those battery cables and get new cables in general. But we'll get there. Still got some lines tagged. Like this is, I think, old fuel line here, so I need to trace this down and just rip that out. I still need to tighten up the rear cables and stuff and run some wire looms and stuff over those brake light wiring harness that I put on there. But so there's that, and we'll run our upper hose. See, we got some good clamps here. We'll run this one on this end here, and that one on the other end. Oh yeah, way better. I tried to get all this freaking paper off, but I couldn't. It's gonna come off as it heats up, but as the truck runs, but unfortunately I couldn't get it. I didn't want to scrape on the hose too much. And we'll run this in here. I always try to position these, it's going to be easy for me to tighten them up. So like you can see, like these here, I positioned them so it's easy for me to tighten up. Same with those. I try to always run those. So this one, I'll probably want to run this way like this. And like I said, it's hard to find a chrome 1 3/4 outlet. It hasn't been leaking on me. This 1 3/4 hose going on this 1 1/2 chrome water neck here where the thermostat is. It hasn't been causing me an issue, so I'm hoping that it will continue to hold up, but I may have to eventually. They do have an adapter, like a piece that goes, but I think it should be okay. Tighten this upper hose up, and then I'll tighten the lower hose. Of course, I need to fill it up with fluid. That lower hose on there. I've already gotten everything buttoned down so far at this point. Hemi, yeah, I got it. Flat tip screwdriver. I got it. So, are you excited that Daddy's gonna pick you up from school in this soon? Yeah. So, just tighten this bad boy down all the way. I may trim some of this excess off if it's out of control, but hopefully that one's not too big. We got we got plenty of thread left. So, like I said, and maybe even this one turned this way a little bit to make it a little easier for you to get to. I always try to put them in like I said, in a position. Yeah, I'm gonna probably clip some of that off. Just a little too. And I'm gonna put these pretty tight because this is where it was leaking before. So I wanna make sure we're not gonna leak it this time. Well, I think it was leaking right there at the lip. So at this spot on the front, like right in here, this spot. So I'll spare y'all some of this. I'll get everything tightened up, and we'll fill it with fluid. And I'm probably gonna wait to crank it up till the wife wakes up at like 6 or so, because I don't want to, or a little earlier than that. I think she wakes up, but you gotta keep the wife happy. You can't be waking her up with a hot rod, or she ain't gonna back the projects anymore. So I'm gonna trim that real quick. Hopefully these will do the job, and then I'll get the rest of it done. But I'll spare you guys watching me do all that.